This is the Steam Room on GaySA Radio, where you are family. Tonight we're talking about smoking and all the dangers thereof, and as promised, in the studio with us we have yet another expert on the matter. So join me in welcoming our guest. And thanks for getting sweaty with us tonight.
GaySA Radio, where you are family. I'm Ray, and I continue to chat with Arno Stadler from the South African Institute of Hypnotism. How many smokers, maybe in statistics, that have you worked with or generally know of that have been helped by this process, that have been helped by hypnosis in general?
Ray, it's a very high percent. Let me tell you, for instance, the BMA, that's a British Medical Association, now recognizes hypnosis as the best way to stop smoking.
Wow!
Right? There's nothing recognized by them as efficient, and the success rate, according to the internet, you can Google that is 92%. Which means 9 out of 10 people that go for hypnosis stop smoking permanently. And the success, from the Institute side, it's thousands of people over the years. The last 20 years that the Institute has been, it'll be many thousands. For myself, it would be hundreds. Of smokers over the years that I've assisted. So obviously, like everything else in life, there's no guarantee. It's not 100%. It's always, you always have that someone that maybe something happens, because also you must remember that the smoker often uses the smoking or the cigarettes to cope with stress, right? So when they stop smoking and something happens, like a bit of, yes, then they might revert back. And that's why we always have a little disclaimer. We say, if anything happens and you feel the urge come up so strongly, immediately contact me and come back so that we can assist. And I can tell you that people that has done that, they get a permanent, they're fine. But those ones, and even if it's 6 months later, even if it's a year or 2 years later, right? If you feel that pressure, if something happens, it is very, very important to take action.
I actually wanted to ask you about that. In terms of timeline, how long does it normally take for maybe someone, because you did say that it's pressures, and how long normally before someone could relapse? Because it's a reality, it happens.
Well, it's very interesting that the science shows us that it takes 21 days to make a habit or break a habit, right? So if you, and I can tell you that's the first 3 days. If I had to venture a guess, I'd say, and we'd also need to talk about the neural networks here. So if you talk about, the way the brain cells connect in your brain, you have a smoking neural network if you're a smoker, which means each time you lit up, that neural network is strengthened, it activates and it wires and it connects, which means it's like going to the gym and really, building up certain muscles. So that neural network around the smoking habit, especially if you smoked for a long time, that becomes a very strong muscle or a very strong neural network. So now when we do hypnosis, and that's where the power of hypnosis comes in, because we can assist to start breaking down those old networks that doesn't serve you anymore. And then what will happen is the first 3 days is actually the most where most of the change happens. So I'd say the first 3 days, if I had to guess, I'd say about 70% of that network breaks down already in 3 days, right? And the other 30% happens over the rest of those 21 days. So, and that's where the power of the hypnosis really helps, because it helps you get through those first few days quite easily, which means before you know it, most of the habit is already much less, or the neural network that represents the habit. So in terms of, if somebody has stopped 21 days, then they pretty much, they're victorious, it's done. But like I said, sometimes you have a trigger, and it can be years later, like somebody dies in family or whatever. And then the pressure for some people just gets so much. And then it's important to, even although in this session we give you coping skills and we give you additional coping mechanisms to be able to replace the smoking habit, for some people, when something like that happens, the pressure gets too much. And I get them from time to time. They contact me and say, you know what, I need to come over. We need to make a plan. And then we assist. And because we've already done hypnosis, it means a person's mind is already open or to the hypnotic process, which means it's quite easy to actually just do, what can we call it, like a top up.
Yeah.
And then people are able to continue being free from the old smoking habit quite easily.
Absolutely. And now I feel like you can confidently say that even heavily addicted smokers can find and seek help from non-medical hypnosis.
Yes. And here's the interesting thing, right? Mm-hmm. The mind or hypnosis, working with the mind works on triggers, right? Yeah. So when we use hypnosis, we actually go through steps, associations that the mind has to be able to access the subconscious mind. So hypnosis is then very trigger-based. And here's the thing, smoking is trigger-based. So if you speak to a smoker, they say, you know what, I like to light up after a cup of coffee or after I've had something to eat or when I drive or when I'm on the phone or, when I have a drink or when I meet with my friends. And these are what we call triggers. And that's part of a session, is to break the connection or the association that a trigger will cause you to smoke, right? And because smoking is trigger-based and hypnosis is trigger-based, it means the smoker is generally a very good hypnotic subject, right? Most smokers can go into hypnosis very easily and very quickly. And here's the thing, the heavier smokers tend to become even easier to stop. just because the mind has been so conditioned by the smoking habit, the triggers.
Really incredible. You know what, I don't know, you've shared so much with me today, and it's been so eye-opening. I would just like to know, for listeners out there and people that desperately need your help, who'd like to get in touch with you or even just want to learn more about non-medical hypnosis or the SA Institute of Hypnotism, how can they go about reaching you?
Yes, my recommendation is just go on the net. The website, the Institute's website is www.hypnotherapy.co.za. And then when you open it, you'll see there at the top, it's got the banner. And at the left top, there's a picture of me. And then just underneath that, obviously there's my contact details. And just underneath that, there's a little section that says find a therapist. And if you click there, there's all the provinces and you can then just go and look for somebody that's close to you, that is SAI accredited. And then you can just contact them and for questions or set up an appointment.
Again, thank you so much, Arno, for chatting with me today.
Oh, it's a huge pleasure. It's nice chatting to you.
No, absolutely. We have to do this again.
Oh, yes.
GaySA Radio, where you are family. This is Ray, and today I'm chatting to Arno Stadler from the SA Institute of Hypnotism.
Well, I hope you found that segment informative and helpful. And thank you again for joining us. This is the Steam Room, talking about smoking tonight on GaySA Radio, where you are family.